Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Sunday, April 6th, 2025. It looks like the Pi coin has settled down a bit, but rest assured, the sharks and whales are still circling. I did hear from a couple of people who ended up getting liquidated either on the dip or as a result of the spike because they had short orders, and that sucks. It really does. I've been there and it's painful, especially shorts, because shorts are a leverage option and it's easy to get in over your head with stuff like that. I hope that's not too widespread and that people can walk away from that and still pay their bills and all of that. I do have some more Banxa news. I mean, that appears to be the big thing going on right now. I also want to comment on some user comments. I'm going to be doing more of that, I think, unless people tell me they don't like it, because I get a lot of good comments and good questions. And rather than just have me here talking about it, which I'm still doing, but at least, you can see that I'm addressing user comments. And I don't know, I thought it might be a good idea. Let me know in the comments if you like it or don't like it. But before we get to that, let's take a look at yesterday's metrics. The circulating supply is 6.8 billion. The migrations were up 14.3 million over the last 24 hours. So that's good. The migrated unlocked rewards were at 1.731 billion, which is up 5.19 million from the last 24 hours. So here you go. 5 million more Pi coins entering circulation. Let's take a look at the price action. So as you can see, as of right now, the Pi coin is trading at almost 64 cents. And that's a far cry from recent days. That's good. I mean, I think people should be encouraged by that. The market cap is at 4.38 billion. And the trading volume is 817.53 million, which is down 31%, but it was up ridiculously high yesterday. And as far as I'm concerned, that's bot action, but that's up for debate, I guess. But that's good because the trading volume is normally somewhere around, say, 120 million to 4 million-ish, and that fluctuates. So to see it this high is good, especially like if you want to get the attention of exchanges, because what they care about is volume. Volume means more money for them, and we want to see this value high if we want to get the attention of exchanges. Let's take a look at the Pi coin ranking based on market cap. Right now, we are currently sitting at 26. So we've moved up a little bit. We were down at like around 28, I believe, a few days ago. So that's good. I mean, we'd like to see it up there. Improvement is good. So let's take a look at some of the user comments. This user points out that it didn't take more than an hour to return everybody's migrated Pi back to their apps, but it's taking weeks and months to remigrate. And she wants to know why people won't sell and get this over with. That's a good question. I get variations on this all the time. To that, I will say, people who were upset about migrations typically have two motivations. One is that they were looking to sell anyway, because there isn't much else to do with the Pi coin right now. And then the other is that they just like to have it in their wallets. It's something about just having it and possessing it is comforting. I get that. But with regards to the pullback was a good thing all around. I mean, people disagree. I think it's mostly the people who wouldn't have been affected had things not been pulled back. And you have to remember that there were thousands, if not millions of people who had their accounts compromised and were set up to lose all of their Pi. And this prevented that. So it was a good thing. It was never stated how long it would take to remigrate. As far as I know, and I could be wrong here, when they pulled your coin back and you were waiting for a two-factor authentication to go through, once that was done, you were back in the queue, not necessarily in the same spot you were before, but somewhere else. I haven't heard any news about people who've had their migrations recalled getting any sort of priority with respect to remigration. As far as I know, you're back to square one when it comes to migration. The migrations were not happening for a long time. Yes, they paused after the rollback, but even before that, they weren't really happening to a large extent. The long wait that people are attributing to this event could be a holdover from before mainnet. You have to realize that migrations are going to happen faster now because we're going through millions of Pi every day. I think yesterday, over 100,000 users were migrated. That number will go up, and 100,000 is pretty good. The queue will go through, and I expect very shortly people to start saying that their so-called second migrations are happening. Now, I've explained in a previous video that there is really no such thing as a second migration. It's only something that's real from the context of people who've had at least one migration. From the perspective of the Pi network, it's not a thing. If you have people who got into the migration queue after you, that's their first migration. Now you'll have your second. So you see what I'm saying? It'll oscillate between migration counts just based on the user's perspective. But at the end of the day, it's just a queue and it'll get to you when it gets to you. So thanks for the comment. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better answer. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they are giving priority to people who were pulled back, because that would be a nice thing to do. So I have some more news with respect to the Banksa situation. A user this morning made a comment that Banksa has 2 Pi wallets. He said that's promising. And I agree. That's very promising, because I had originally stated that Banksa was not listed in the Pi KYB. So it was unclear to me how Banksa was getting their Pi. But it appears that Banksa has submitted and passed KYC because they have 2 Pi wallets, which means that they're able to trade in real Pi and not a synthetic token, which wouldn't make sense anyway, really. So that's good news. I want to also talk about the KYC. Now, it turns out that the introduction of Banksa into people's wallets wasn't really the big news. The bigger news was that the wallets got an upgrade. The introduction of Banksa reveals that the wallets now have independent activation from your KYC in-app. Now, that wasn't really a thing before, because your wallets didn't need to be activated. They got created. They just sat there doing nothing until you were migrated, at which point the Pi Foundation would create your account, fund your account, and initiate the 14-day pending. All that time, your wallet was technically active. It just couldn't do anything. But what they did was now add a independent activation mechanism, which allows things like Banksa to run. You can unlock your wallet and activate it by doing KYC through Banksa. But I have to point out that only activates your wallet. It has no bearing whatsoever on your KYC status in the app. You still have to perform the Pi network KYC in order to migrate your coins into your wallet. There are 2 different things here, and they're for 2 different purposes. You may ask, well, then what do we need Banksa for? Like, I don't know if you recall during the Pi domain auction, which is still ongoing, by the way, that a lot of people were complaining, well, I can't bid on the domains because I don't have any Pi coin in my wallet, and variations like that. This allows people to buy Pi directly and put it into their Pi wallets and use it. It's a great thing. And there are plans for the Pi wallet to accept other cryptocurrencies as well. So it will be a true Web3 wallet. So keep an eye on the Pi KYB list, because I wouldn't be surprised to see Banksa show up there shortly. But that's all I've got for today. If anything comes up, I will be sure to hop back on and let you all know. But until then, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.